It's time! What's up, my archfiends of chaos? Another here with the Final Fantasy segment. I'm actually gonna just do this through webcam, so you're not gonna be seeing no game footage. So sorry about that, but also sorry about my hair. I just, got home, took a shower after my, workout, which isn't the same day in the same timeline. But anyways, let's get right to the content. Let's get right into the news. Anyways, the news is, the question is, the Final Fantasy segment is Final Fantasy 15? Does Final Fantasy 15 have Final Fantasy 7 overtones? Yes. And I'm going to explain why it has overtones. Some of the characters are pretty much similar, such as Idolus being President Shinra. Because if you didn't know, President Shinra was the face of evil in Final Fantasy VII. Before, because to defeat no evil corporation, you have to defeat the president of the corporation. Well, anyways, this is before Sephiroth came into the story. So, if you really take a good look about Final Fantasy 15, the true evil does not get revealed. Just like in Final Fantasy 7, we assume Emperor Idolus is the bad guy we face. Just like in Final Fantasy 7, we assume the bad guy we face. This is if you had only the original PlayStation 1 copy and you didn't get the little, guide booklet thing. Not a little guide booklet, but those little booklets that come in it. And, you start putting it in, you have not played this before or seen any of the compilations of Final Fantasy 7. Now, with that being said, you didn't know when Sephiroth was going to come around. So we assume President Shinra was the guy we had to face. Just like in Final Fantasy 15, we used to think Emperor Idolus was the main bad guy. He was one of the bad guys, and you do end up fighting him in the end. But it's technically kind of not Emperor Idolus and kind of not. So we got that, and Ravis Nox Ray. Pretty much Sephiroth Jr. Well, he's not Sephiroth's son, but he's pretty much is a Sephiroth clone. I've said this in my previous videos before, so if you want to go dispute that, you can. You go ahead and dispute that as many times as you can. You're going to ultimately fail on that because it is true. Pretty much, one of the strongest characters, works for the evil corporation, because if you didn't know, Sephiroth worked for Shinra, just like, in the past, and then turned on Shinra. Ravis Nox Ray worked for the Niflheim Empire, then later on turns against the Niflheim Empire. They're both pretty much the strongest monsters in their respective organizations. That's if you don't count Arden Uzunia or Arden Lucis Kylium's immortality. We're going to take Chancellor Arden out of this picture, so it would be just Idolus, Ravis, and Verstal. So pretty much, technical in all technical terms, he is pretty much a Sephiroth clone. Noctis Lucius Kylium. Now they put an iconic scene, trying to make it iconic, just like Final Fantasy VII. Remember when Aeris died in Final Fantasy VII and everyone was all upset? Well, except no one took it even harder than Cloud did, but no one ever took it harder than Cloud has. But, same thing with Noctis. Noctis took Lunafreya's death the same way Cloud took Aeris' death. Except the difference is, it was justified in Noctis' favor because, well, there really wasn't much Noctis could do. And, technically, and this is kind of what will break canon right here. Technically, what killed Aeris in Final Fantasy VII was Cloud dropping her in the water, but what could you do? Aeris was a vegetable. After that spine when you get that one serval part of the spine messed up, it'll turn you to a complete vegetable. That would have been miserable. So Cloud had to dunk her in the water, but he still blamed himself. So, but I'd say the only thing that's different is Noctis's grief is a lot more justified than Cloud's because, well, there was nothing he could have done. He didn't know Arden was going to show up and, you know, do that. In fact, for the half the game, he thought Arden was on his side, or at least was helping him because he still couldn't trust Arden. But nobody expected Arden to come out there, you know. And me, I kind of avoided the spoilers before. So when I first played the game, when I first played Final Fantasy 15, you know, that took me a shock too. So I was like, nah. I mean, I knew there was a scene where you see Arden with a mean-looking face to Luna Freya. But again, you know, we didn't think he was actually going to end up killing her. We didn't actually think that was going to really happen. But it did. It did. That was this big spoiler event that happened. That was a big spoiler event that happened within, you know, the continuity of Final Fantasy 15. And let's see, both have meteor disasters, except the difference is Final Fantasy 15's main disaster was not the meteor. Well, you know, the disaster in Final Fantasy 15 was darkness descending to the world. You know, because Arden brought the darkness with him. Like I said about how Arden is pretty much practically Satan. Pretty much, you know, the biblical prophecy, woe to the earth. This man with the power of demons, you know, brings the darkness to the world. So yeah, the meteor was not a main catastrophe in Final Fantasy 15, but there was a meteor sight. Like a meteor did hit Eos. In fact, you can take a picture of that. It's in the middle of that. I think that's where Titan's holding it up. So we assume that Titan actually saved people from the meteor. You know, when it was a disaster, and this is probably around, I don't know, either younger Regis's years or even before King Regis. Probably the second or third kings, which Arden will probably know because Arden's lived out, you know, for 1,000 years. Now, back to the faces of evil. Like, even you think Sephiroth is the face of evil in Final Fantasy VII, but well, here's a little twist. Genova influenced Sephiroth to do what he did. You know, just like how Arden, Lucius Caelum, you know, manipulated both the Niflheim Empire and Insomnia to fight against each other to complete the ring, so he could have the ring and his revenge against the Lucius Caelum. He played both sides, all in all. You know, even King Regis knew about this. That's why he was preparing Noctis, because he knew about this. Because, you know, if you've seen King's Glaive, but yes, he's actually manipulated both sides of the coin, just like Genova. But you know, but Sephiroth was actually more of the brains in Final Fantasy VII because, well, Sephiroth was vengeful, okay, and took control of Genova, and you know, fused with her. He took control of her. That's why she lost that boss fight in the 7th. But you know, the trope I'm trying to bring up right here is both games. There's actually no direct, true face of evil. There's multiple bad guys you had to beat in order to complete the game. But they do play one part of another, which would make Genova and Sephiroth and Final Fantasy VII the puppet masters behind most things. Just like Arden Izunia himself with, you know, that spoon-feed Idolus the idea that there's even more power than just taking over the world, which caused the thing. So there's just no true face of evil in any of the games. It's actually just multiple villains, but under the auspice and control of the puppet master behind the curtain. And this is where I think Naruto stole things from Final Fantasy games, because, you know, Final Fantasy games become popular. So because of that, you know, there was actually they use the same trope that there's actually a puppet master behind the ultimate puppet master doing all this, you know. which it could get really confusing, but nonetheless, it took that trope from Final Fantasy VII. A big metropolis city, obvious. If you really look at the city of Insomnia and Midgar, they look like two sides of the same coin. They look like the two sides of the same coin. If you really look at it, they look like they're identically designed. If you look closely. If you look at Insomnia and Midgar, they look exactly. And there's even lower parts of it. Like if you've seen Kingsglaive Final Fantasy 15, you know, Insomnia has a hood just like Midgar did. And if you saw where Nyx lived in the hood because, you know, he was an immigrant that protected the king. You know, joined the Kingsglaive, you know, armed forces. But, you know, the Insomnia and Midgar both have hoods and they both have nice city metropolis areas, as well as they both kind of copied some of the same designs from, you know, both games. If you really look at some of the stuff, you know, if you really look at some of the stuff, if you really go back a little bit, like I don't even know, like I'm trying to think of another place in Final Fantasy 7. It's like Final Fantasy 15. You know, we'll come back to that, but anyways, yeah, they have some similar stuff as well. They both have the same summons. Not all of them, but Knights of the Round plays a big part in Final Fantasy 15. As in Final Fantasy 7, the Knights of the Round plays a smaller, extra side quest that pretty much helps you defeat Sephiroth and helps you defeat the weapons. Also, another trope that Final Fantasy 15 and Final Fantasy 7 has used, the weapons. Even though Diamond Weapon was the only revealed weapon in Final Fantasy 15, yes, the guys on the cover aren't the weapons. Those are actually the Knights Around on the game cover on Final Fantasy 15. But they have put Diamond Weapon in Kingsglaive, and he was only in Kingsglaive. He wasn't even you only saw the little snippet cutscene in Final Fantasy 15. But Diamond Weapon plays a big role in Final Fantasy 15. Is the same as in Final Fantasy 7, except the difference is a Diamond Weapon in Final Fantasy 15 is the demon by the Niflheim Empire, and then the weapon in Final Fantasy 7 is actually a protector of the planet. And since, you know, Sephiroth was resurrected and started summoning meteor, of course the weapons woke out of their slumber, you know, to put a stop to it because they're the last defense in Final Fantasy 7. So technically in Final Fantasy 7, the weapons are actually the good guys, if you really think about it. They just don't like human beings or Cetras or anything else because they destroy the planet. Which, understandably so. And in Final Fantasy 15, the weapons are actually bad guys because, well, they're demons in Final Fantasy 15. But the point I'm trying to say is that, yes, they use some of the same stuff in there, too. They use some of the same stuff, you know. And the same thing with the extra characters as well. Like Vincent Valentine and Yuffie were Final Fantasy VII's extra characters. Aranea, Highwing, Core are part of Final Fantasy 15's extra DLC characters that they're going to have. Now I'm running a little bit over time, and I don't want to run over time because, you know, I'm only on the 15-minute. So may the crystal be with you. Subscribe, like my stuff, and keep watching more. I'll be making